Hello everyone, I am Rainy Suarez, aka Silva Crow, today back here with another amazing reaction. This time we're back with another Omizi video. Um, Police frame Kyren Lacy for a crime he didn't commit. Now I did a little bit of research here and there. Yes, let's say the police has some answers. Some questions that needs to be answered, and especially why I guess the officer that framed this young man from for something that he did not commit, to the point that people believed it and ran with it, and so bad enough that he took his own life. And before I put a pin in this one, remember I always say there's a difference between speaking sense and speaking noise. It due to the fact to, at the end of the day, stuff like this does happen when it shouldn't happen. But anyway, I digress. If you like any of this content, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to Omizi. I will leave the original link to this video down below so you watch it uninterrupted. I'll also leave the link to my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow me on those social platforms. Also, link to the Discord. Come and join into the Crow's Nest. Talk amongst yourself. Have a jolly good time. Also, link to the Cashapp. Feel gracious enough to donate. Whatever you want to donate, that's fine. Don't. That's not as well. So there's two things. But by donating, liking, comment, subscribe, sharing, all the good stuff out there, you show your support. Let me know you rock with the reaction content, rock with the channel, and rock with your boy. But further ado, buckle up, and let's get started. Alright, we here with some more Omizi. All I can say is, when it comes to this topic in general, it's one of those things that when it comes to being framed for something that you didn't do, or and the point that they're going to show it, I know Omizi is going to show it, that a police officer framed this person. I mean, I understand if you want a instant closure or justice for somebody, that's understandable, but you have to do it the right way. By not doing the right way, you end up doing stuff like this, and you may not be, to the officer, you may not be the one who pulled the trigger, but you're the one who ignited the fire. Just saying.
Kyren Lacy is going to change the way things are done. He's going to make people think twice about what they say before they say it. Not everybody, somebody. Maybe Kyren Lacy makes someone think twice before the next investigation.
And that's the one thing I will probably say this. A lot of people always go for their first thought, never the second or the third or the fourth. By going with your first thought, sometimes you put yourself in a predicament that you should not put yourself in.
To say, hold on, maybe we got to look at a few other things here.
Yes.
Right? Maybe let's not jump to conclusions. Thoroughly review. Just maybe somebody else is saved from the same exact thing. Maybe thousands.
And a story that I know isn't going to get its due justice, former LSU standout star Kyren Lacy has basically been, proven to be innocent without reasonable doubt, even though he is no longer here on earth. He makes massive scrutiny for being potentially a part of a homicide that happened in a car.
And he said the word, Omi said the words potentially, because that was technically the word, potentially. But people were already assuming this young man was guilty. I'm like, it's one of those things, nobody wants to wait. Everybody wants to be right. Everyone wants immediate justice. But like, hey, calm down. But nobody wants to. People like, oh, this person, because the person they allege him that he offed in a car accident was a veteran. I'm like, which is understandable to be upset. But at the same time, like, that's also someone's father. That's someone's husband, And the point that, like, y'all can't wait till the full evidence to come out. Y'all just already assuming it was so bad that the dude took his life.
And the scrutiny that he faced online, the claims on his life that he was having from the public, there were people.
And here's the thing, before he continue, I know I'm already pausing, and it's already like 2 minutes into this freaking video. To me, people who are accusing this young man, the apology needs to be louder, a lot louder than the disrespect, because you cannot. And same thing goes for the cop that did it, and the police department as well, because at the end of the day, all this could be prevented if that officer had done his job correctly.
Calling him everything but the child of God, eventually took over his mental health and had him take his life. And unfortunately, we're just now getting evidence that is proving that without a shadow of a doubt, it was impossible that he could have even been a part of that. And now he's just gone. The internet has to rethink everything they do.
If LSU and ESPN don't publicly call out this up system that is happening to Kyren Lacy and his family, I am not watching college football. This is disgusting. And if you can't look at what happened to Kyren Lacy and see your brother or see your sister, see someone that got thrown under the bus for something that they didn't do, that was 4 cars behind them, go look at the story. Go look at the police body cam footage. You say that racism doesn't exist. You say that it's not systemic. They literally killed a young football player with a bright future.
It's one thing I literally just said. People may not have not pulled the trigger, but words, they did partake in this man taking his own life, and that's messed up. Something needs to change, because we are working with everyone's guilty until innocent instead of innocent and proven guilty. Now, like, without shadow of a doubt, and again, like I said, but when the apology needs to be louder than the disrespect.
Because some old person couldn't hit their brakes fast enough, and you got to scapegoat 4 cars behind you.
We are now finding out that Lacy never caused that car crash, and he was framed by the police. He passed away for no reason. You see, come to find out, Lacy was nowhere near the accident when it happened. You can see his car literally be the last vehicle at the scene, and it just goes around him. When a witness told the officer that the person who caused the accident was the woman, the officer led the witness and told him, no, I need you to say that that Charger is the one who caused the accident. Because of this situation, Lacy's draft stock dropped. People were attacking his family and him on social media, saying that he took the life of a veteran. And due to an altercation that he got the night before court, he thought he was going to jail for life and just decided to go to the Lord. The officers and investigators that framed him for this incident and forgot that body cams exist, they need to be charged.
I agree. Due to the fact that at the end of the day, this is like heavily incompetent. Like, yeah, you forget that, yes, body count. And they could look back on it, and the point that there's no amount of I'm sorry, but at least show remorse. And it's upsetting.
They need to be in jail as well.
Around mid to late December of last year, LSU standout player Kyren Lacy was wanted for his involvement in this fatal car crash. No priors, no criminal record, literally a student at LSU, good kid who had the potential to be in the NFL. And he was getting the blame for a car crash that led to the death of a 78-year-old veteran, Herman Hall. The claim was that Lacy was driving at a reckless speed and that this truck had to swerve out of the lane in order to avoid a head-on collision with this car. Now, mind you, this is coming off the heels of other college athletes having similar reckless driving incidences, so this would fall in line and people would just buy this story as if it was something that was fact or known to happen. But his lawyer over the weekend popped up with receipts that would prove his innocence, and honestly, it's one of the most quietest stories I've heard on my timeline all weekend.
Because here's the thing, and it's one of those things that pisses me off. The same people who was pointing fingers at this young man are quiet. Are very much so quiet. Same people that actually wanted to prosecute, show this young man that he was a criminal when he wasn't, and it's due to the fact that they're quiet, like stupid quiet, because they have nothing to say. You know, the thing is, I am sorry ain't coming out for some reason, or saying, look, I made a mistake and I'm sorry. And the police officer, to me personally, he didn't make a mistake. He made a choice.
So what you'll see is in the top left of the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodaux, coming from Vacherie. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyren Lacy come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyren Lacy is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyren Lacy did in fact pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that.
Yeah.
Further north, Kyren Lacy passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards, back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall. At the time of impact, He's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles.
That's crazy.
That is not how this story was ever painted.
No.
Never.
Any part of the district attorney's investigation that talked about Mr. Lacy getting back, I guess we call it, what do you call it, correcting or getting in your proper lane?
Sure, he was back in his proper lane according to their data. This isn't my expert. This is the investigation of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office. So I'm here simply comparing and contrasting the District Attorney's Office with state police in this matter. Their investigations.
Evidence comes out saying that not only was the car crash not with Lacy, but that he was 72 yards behind the actual collision incident.
Which is pretty far.
It's amazing when you have proof of things and then people just invalidate you left, right, and sideways.
Because nobody wants to wait until everything comes out. Again, like I said in the beginning, they want immediate justice. And I understand but to a certain extent, something like this, because at the end of the day, what if you're wrong? And thing is, when it comes to stuff like this, you don't need what ifs. You need actual facts, actual evidence in general, because stuff like this can ruin someone's life, or worse, what happened to Kyren.
As if you're not there, as if you don't have the evidence in front of you, as if you're crazy. Bad gaslighting attempts.
After watching that body cam footage, it is clear as day that Kyren Lacy was in fact framed. They painted this man out to be a murderer. It got so bad to the point where he became so hopeless that he took his own life. I'm just really curious, why did it take so long for this footage to come out? There was ample time for this footage to be presented.
Now, this is raising a lot of questions to the media, to the internet, to friends, to families, to onlookers of the situation. Why was this footage held for so long? Why did police decide to not report these things? Why was this not accessible to everyone? We live in a surveillance state. I mean, there's so many businesses, there's so many people with dash cams, there's so many cameras out there. If Kyren Lacy, LSU standout football player, got into an accident, I don't think that anybody would just not have footage of it anywhere. So why was it that this was withheld from us for so long if nobody was covering things up? That's the only answer that I can come up with. Now, what makes it even worse is that there is body cam footage of the police officer in the situation and the witness to the collision, and it seems as though that the witness is being coached by the police officer in order to make a statement, kind of gearing this person to say that certain things happened that clearly didn't happen. Not just based off of what the witness believed to happen, but also based off of the video cam footage. It's actually some of the...
And this is a shame. And people wonder why other people are having issues with the police. He does not make it better. This does not make it better. It makes it way worse. Because most police officers have the same protect or serve in quotations. How are you protecting and serving the people if you end up doing this?
Most amazingly disgusting things I've ever seen in my life.
Don't worry about filling any of this top information, like your name, your address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, me and my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't squeezed my car because I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't show what happened. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side. And that's how it is.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here.
I've been into a situation where I've been a part of a car accident, and never has the police officer ever said any suggestive language. It is just about what you said, and they let it ride from there. They're not coaching you or guiding you to believe one thing. We're looking for a certain car, pressing and pressing and pressing. And in that 5-minute video of the officer talking to the gold truck suspect in the situation, there continues to be a pressing and pressing and pressing of the situation. Mind you, there are written statements from when the accident actually happened that go against the idea that Kyren Lacy was involved in this.
Yeah.
And his car had no sort of scratch in it. And to top it all off, the person involved in the situation, the person who swerved and caused the accident, has been on Facebook and had their family on Facebook talking about the situation, acknowledging but not taking full accountability.
And that's messed up. At the end of the day, why would you acknowledge it but not take accountability for it? Something that you caused. And I'm like, bro, someone, because of their actions, someone took their life. But you're scared. I bet.
They were the ones who actually caused the accident. What else is there left to do at this point? And this is where the story turns tragic, because social media is actually powerful. The idea that you can just get off and, don't let it affect you is really just this falsity that I wish people would stop pushing, because it doesn't actually work like that. There are certain things that happen on social media that impact your real life, and it needs to be addressed. Now, part of that is this double standard in America. There's a couple of them. The whole concept of free speech getting tossed back and forth depending on who's in power. And another one is the innocent until proven guilty philosophy. Yeah, it's bullshit. Kyren Lacy was essentially crucified on the internet because of this.
Because it's one of those things that, like I said in the beginning, he was literally portrayed that he was already guilty. And that's horrible. Because at the end of the day, that's what they did. It's the reason why I always tell people I don't really watch news like that. I don't really pay attention. I'm a content creator. I'm not really on social media like that. It's due to the fact that at the end of the day, some of y'all, or majority of y'all, are just out of control. And it's messed up to the point that it ruins everything. It just ruins. Like someone said it best. Someone thinks that the internet is a big mistake. And how people have been acting going wild like this, it is. I mean, it's a good. It could be days. It could be a good mistake or a bad mistake. But at the end of the day, sometimes it is a mistake, and it's weird. It's because all this could have been prevented if the cop did his job correctly. If people weren't losing their mind with assumptions, because at the end of the day, by assuming, it makes an ass out of you and me.
Situation. And that impacted what happened to him going forward in his NFL career, or his not NFL career, because it was ripped away from him after the NFL revoked his combine invite based off of this news. And then after that, it was joke after joke after joke after joke after conversation about Kyren Lacy in this incident where there was little to no evidence linking him to this, truly just word of mouth that had him combined at the scene of the crime. There were literal TV news stations that were portraying him as the ultimate evil because they killed somebody who was an ex-veteran.
Digger Earls, the attorney representing Herman Hall's family, says he has been involved in a lot of high-profile litigation over his career, and says he has never seen a name withheld by officials because someone was a high-profile individual.
No one is above the law, not a star athlete, not anyone.
Louisiana State Police say Lacy was driving recklessly along LA 20 in Thibodaux on December 17th, at one point crossing the center line. Drivers in the northbound lane tried to swerve out of the way, causing a head-on collision that took the life of Hall.
I think that tells us a lot about Kyren Lacy.
Attorney Digger Earls, who plans to represent Hall's family in the case, says he is a big LSU fan, but that will not stand in the way of this case.
I cheered Kyren Lacy throughout his career. That doesn't change my position, or it doesn't change the job that I have to do seeking justice for this family.
Public scrutiny would cause
that. I wonder how he feels now after everything comes out. Everything came. Because, like I said, I keep saying it in this video, the apology needs to be louder than the disrespect. Because people, including the lawyers, including the news and all, yes, the apology won't bring him back. But be the person that you want other people to believe that you are. Say, hey, I am sorry. We should have never done that. We should never have portrayed this young man as the quote unquote ultimate evil. Because we didn't have all the facts. Or someone fabricated to make themselves look good.
Lacy to ultimately end his life after so many people judged his character, judged who he was, stripped him away.
And here's the thing, and going after this man's going after this man's family, like y'all. I always bring it up to this point because this is one of my favorite scenes from Naruto Shippuden when Gaara said, "When did we forsake ourselves?" And apparently, a lot of people have just for clicks, likes, and all those.
His humanity for an incident that he wasn't even a part of. And now it's amazing to see how many people are doing a complete 180 on the situation, as if the internet doesn't have receipts. On it.
And you're the one who, and here's the thing, I didn't know nothing about this person, this young man, until, like, literally before this video, and when I wanted to do this video, I had to end up looking up. And by looking this up, it really hurt me in a weird way due to the fact that at the end of the day, how can all of us be heartless? Like, I mean, yes, there are times that we had no choice but to be heartless. But when it comes, the person, like, yeah, I don't know, guys. It just, people can be this cruel. I mean, and then it turns out to be innocent. I mean, it's all because of assumptions. Allegedly. I'm like, no one wants to wait for facts. They want immediate justice, which is fine until you. What if you're wrong though? Nobody wants to care about that. It's that what if it's gonna be nogging at your head, and now it came off, busted the door full swinging. And the best thing most people who are staying silent currently is, well, I didn't know. No, duh, you didn't know, because you didn't wait.
People most likely to end their lives in the United States are men, especially young men. Someone like Kyren Lacy, somebody who has a lot of hope and a lot of dreams, and a lot of those hopes and dreams get stripped away from them because of somebody who just honestly has it out for them. Nothing that they did, nothing that they could have stopped, nothing that they could have not been a part of, but somebody else plotting on their downfall. And those people on social media, looking to pile up on him, the outside noise finally getting to him. It's a tragic incident. It's a tragic story. I think what makes it worse is that the evidence was always there, but he was most likely going to be cleared of all charges.
The district attorney's office in Lafourche Parish has yet to this day to accept formal charges. Let that sink in. We were set for grand jury today. I am privy to so much information that no one has. To get a report is a report. You know how many cases we get reports on that ultimately end up in acquittals? This one never even got past a grand jury yet, and they crucified this kid.
And it's the point that it's a damn shame. It is. It's one of those things that it's not because he's black, to me personally, because he has so much life to live. And people can be cruel, and that's understandable. But imagine how he's feeling. People going after his family, not just him. And his last moment was thinking, if I off myself, my family will be safe. And turns out he was safe all along due to the fact that this evidence existed. But no one in the show his lawyer until the very, very last minute after this man passed away. And it's asinine.
When I mean crucified in a manner I cannot describe. I had these talks with him where you're trying to calm it down. Say, man, turn it off. Let me take the heat. I got thick skin. You got a problem with me on social media? Come at me. Who cares? The narrative spun here has just been fascinating. Quite frankly, whether you were Marine or not, everybody's life is important. I have the utmost respect for Marine. Kyren had the utmost.
Yeah, and that's the thing a lot of people forget is, yes, the older gentleman was a veteran, older Marine, everything. But also every life isn't important. When we come down to like logistics and like literally semantics. Because every life is important. But thing is, if you put someone's life over someone else's life, and it turns out that person who you put under was innocent, Like, but these two people, with two people that is no longer with us, are innocent. Period. I don't know. It's frustrating to the fact that this is the society that we live in, and it's messed up. Something needs to change.
Respect for Marines. That's irrelevant in this case, but the media didn't see it that way.
No.
The media, the same media, you know how upset he was? Every mugshot that was placed on there, you couldn't give him the courtesy of the 5,000 other pictures he had. You put him in a jumpsuit, as if he was a thug and if he was this awful kid.
So the question is, what do we take from this? And I think that it's quite simple in this age of the internet. In an age where platforms like Kickchamp and other of these rage-baiting platforms can just exist and thrive, is that we need to stop looking for a villain in every single story. We understand it that negativity does sell. But for whatever reason, when we get into these places and spaces of online discourse where a story's being told, the first thing that we want to know is who is responsible. We don't even necessarily care about the victim in the situation. We don't even care about the person who's hurt in the situation. Hell, there was a wife to this Herman Hall and nobody really gave a damn about her. It was more about vilifying Kyren Lacy over anything. And now we're sitting here with 2 lives lost over some ill reporting and social media painting somebody to be worse than what they are in the aftermath of that ill reporting. Now, there are so many things that plagued this situation before that. I mean, the justice system has so many things that they need to talk about. The police department has so many things that they need to talk about. But it's crazy how we live in a world in which the accusation gets more coverage than the acquittal. It's crazy that we live in a world in which people can go out and claim somebody did something, but greater than that, they get blasted on social media, stripped of their jobs, stripped of everything, and honestly kicked to the curb before we even figure out what is really going on behind closed doors, before we get anything of substance. We live in a guilty before innocent society, and at some point, it's costing people their lives, those that are actually innocent. It's actually very disturbing how many times we can look to the internet and see that somebody was called out for something that they did, and that video or that tweet or that TikTok video get millions, and I mean millions upon views on multiple different platforms. But then 6, 12, 18 months later, when these people go to court or ultimately the charges get dropped, those videos get hundreds of thousands of views, maybe even not even posted and talked about. I understand that the world is full of evils and atrocities and we want to put names on different bullets, but honestly, what's crazy about all this is that I would even push to say that these people don't even care. They don't care when they really report on these things. They don't care if Kyren Lacy were to never be in the NFL again and he get rehabilitated. Hell, even if he was a part of that situation, it would have been an accident, but they wouldn't have cared. They would have just cared. That
it's one of those things, it reminds me of it's this animation called Gate. It was towards the end of the 2nd season. It was a news reporter. 2 of them. Someone said we need to report the truth, and the other news reporter said, no, we don't. We just need to make sure they tune in. They don't care about the truth. They just want someone to tune in for the ratings and all this stuff like that. And that's what it also feels like to me, because at the end of the day, if you're going to portray someone, if you're going to portray someone as the ultimate evil, and come to find out this man done nothing wrong, not even freaking driving ticket. And like I keep saying, the apology needs to be loud. This time, very loud. Than the disrespect. Just saying.
It got this guy out of here and made a video about it to get their clicks, likes, and views, and moved on to the next thing. They're not supporting the wife in this situation. They wouldn't be supporting Kyren Lacy in this situation. They wouldn't be supporting either party's families in these situations. It's just about getting the clicks, likes, and views. So how can we go about, as a society, changing this guilty before innocence measure? I don't know, but I think especially glorifying tragedy is the first step. Gotta stop rushing to post and letting things breathe. Rest in peace to Kyren Lacy. I'm glad that you're finally seeing justice on this side of the earth. So hopefully you can rest easy. It's a tragedy that, not that we don't get to see you on the Sunday screens. I don't think that matters in the grand scheme of things. It's a tragedy that you don't get to go home for Sunday meals anymore. It's a tragedy that you don't get to be home for the holidays anymore. It's a tragedy that you don't get to be who you were supposed to be anymore. Also, rest in peace to Herman Hall, somebody who was used as a pawn in this conversation to get a greater narrative off, as opposed to recognizing that a man lost his life in a tragic accident, and we should probably just let him, his family, and everybody else involved in the situation just rest.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that when people do stuff like this, it makes us look bad. It really does. It makes us as society look bad. But no, nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to say I'm sorry, which is okay to say I'm sorry, but actually meant it. Say, hey, I messed up. Again, it's all because a cop couldn't do his job correctly. And the point that he did all of this, and also social media just scrutinized. Same thing with the news, scrutinized this young man, and it come to find out he innocent. So yeah, 2 people lives were lost for something. 1, an accident, and 2, social media. So anyway, let me know your thoughts about this whole entire thing. And shout out to Omeezy. So you like any of this content, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to Omeezy. I will leave the original link to this video down below so you can watch it uninterrupted. Until next time, please take care of yourself, stay hydrated, stay safe, stay warm. Peace out.
And little questions is everything they know about you.